Second American Revolution. We talked last time in some general kind of aphoristic ways about the process, about the problem of ends and means, and the necessity to, not jump immediately to the end result, but let something happen unfold in the process of discussion, and a need to include not only taking time, but getting to know each other, finding good questions, and understanding the past. Let's take up a little bit of a psychological detail with regard to conversations that can be healthy or they can be destructive. And this has to do with something that's pretty common today, and you can see it a lot. Certainly, anytime you watch a show on TV where, like The View or some of these news shows where you have these talking heads kind of arguing with each other, what do you see that's happening there? Well, everybody wants to talk, and everybody thinks they got the right idea. And the only way they get into talk is kind of shout over each other. And it's all very exciting. It's probably good TV from the standpoint of the people that sell the TV shows, but it's not very enlightening. And the big flaw with it is that it's very clear nobody's listening. And what's the point of getting in a conversation where you don't listen to the person that's talking? Well, what happens? Well, what happens is that the person's talking, and they say something we don't like. And right away our attention, that quality of our mind and ourself in which we focus on what we're doing, our attention goes to, well, what's my better idea? What's my point of view? What do I want to say? How do I want to argue against this? So they're talking, and instead of listening, what we're doing is rattling on and on inside our own head about what a great idea we have and why it's better than their idea. It's not going to work. And in fact, one of the problems with the sort of social chaos that's going in relationship to this is the fact of how common this activity is, of how common it is for people to get in a situation where they talk at each other and not to each other, and there's no listening, there's just a lot of speechifying, and of course they walk away unsatisfied. And they'll come to the meeting that way. They'll come to a meeting already with their judgments formed. They will say, well, I'm going to sit down with a meeting, and this person is a Tea Party person, and that person is a Move-On person, and obviously the Tea Party person is a conservative, and the Move-On person is a liberal, and liberal and conservatives can't get along. But at the very least, I can go in and I can say what I think the right thing to do is, and that's the most important thing of all, is for me to say the right thing. My thoughts are the most important thing. I have to get my point of view across. If I'm on The View or if I'm on some talking head show on Sunday morning, I have to get my point of view across. Crap. We're going to drown. We're going to die. We're going to suffer. Suffer, suffer, suffer. Socially. Wherever those kinds of egotistical bullshit processes are going on, where people come to a situation where they share a problem, and the only way they can handle it is insist that they know better than the other guy, and by God, they're not going to really listen to the other guy. That's why I said in the last one about getting to know each other. Let me tell you a little story. I check the time here. This comes from by listening to a guy named Orland Bishop talk about some of the mystery wisdoms of the African peoples. And I'd never heard this before. I knew there was stuff like that out there, and I hadn't read books. I could have, I suppose, gone out and read books, but I hadn't. I had been, mostly reading spiritual books out of European culture and maybe out of Eastern culture, but never out of Africa. which is stupid in a kind of way, because this particular idea that Orland brought forward was a really interesting idea. And he said that their wisdom teachers had this idea that when you had a conflict, one of the best ways to resolve the conflict was for one side of the conflict to ask not the question of what gets me what I want, but ask the question of how can I help the other side get what they want. In other words, the focus is on recognizing that the person you're in conflict with has legitimate grievances, has legitimate needs. Now imagine what would happen if both sides approached each other that way, with both of them saying, you know, the best way to resolve this is for me to think about how I can help you get what you need, and for you to think about how you can help me get what I need. And all of a sudden we're talking about what we need and how we can help each other, and not about how much smarter we are than the other guy. And we're going to have a lot of circumstances like this right now. We got situations right now in America today, and of course all over the world in various places. And what have we got? Well, we've got unemployment. And we got people losing their homes. And it's pretty clear that the federal government, in spite of the desire of certain people that they do something about this, isn't got their head quite around what to do. And even if Obama decided to have a big works project, does anybody really believe that the Republicans will support it? They'll find some reason to shoot it down, because they're not in the business of solving the problem. They're in the business of getting in the way, because they want Obama to look like an idiot so that in the next election they can get voted back into office. They care more, and this is true of the Democrats too, they all care more about being in office than they care about the American people. And like I've been saying all along, government is broken. We're stuck with fixing it ourselves. So here we are. Here we are. We got lots of people with no jobs and lots of people losing their homes. Now all those people need to come together and talk to each other. And one of the things they can talk about is, what can I do to help you get what you need? Not about how you can help me get what I need, but what can I do to help you get what you need? And when we all do that, when we're all sitting around there with our joblessness and our homelessness, and we're starting to think about the other person instead of ourselves first, you'd be surprised not only how good people would feel, but how quickly they'd find answers to those questions. Because real human needs are pretty immediate. I mean, right now we've been watching a situation go on, at least at the time that I'm making this video. The earthquake in Haiti happened about 2 weeks ago, and we're in the aftermath of all that. Now that's kind of on a macro scale, something that's going on in the United States of America in terms of economic collapse.